Good morning and happy Friday. This is Big Agent Meeting. My name is Russ and I am your host today. And today we have a show coming up for you guys. We got a little bit of a twist. I've got a couple of the cohorts in crime, the guys that I work with on a daily basis in the growth department. I've got Frank Panunto. He's running VP of Growth East, new title. And we've got VP of Growth Tony King, who's actually in charge of taking care of the people that are running individual states. And then we're going to follow that up with an amazing conversation between Bryon Ellington and Gogo Bethke. They're going to be talking about, of course, all things social media. So with that being said, we're going to start this right off, and I'm going to jump into Frank Panunto, Tony King. Come on down, guys. Jump on in here.
What is up? How you doing,
Howdy.
Russ? What's up, Tony?
My brother Russ lagging.
Happy Friday, guys. Happy Friday. So we're going to do a segment today talking about growth. Guys, I'm shocked and surprised when we go out and ask people and talk to people, if they don't already know us. A lot of people don't even know what the growth department is or what the growth department does. So I want to get into a little bit of that. And by the way, for everybody out there, I didn't prep these guys at all because I just want this to be three people having a conversation, real talk about what's really going on, what we really do, what really works, what really doesn't work. And we've got plenty of time to do that today. So let's kick it off with a real simple question and warm you guys up. How's this sound? What is growth?
Right.
What do you guys do? What do we do? What do I do?
You want me to answer what you do, or do you want me to answer what I do? Let's clarify here.
Any of us.
Whatever I do, I have to ask Tony for permission. So I don't know. I'll let him take
Oh my gosh. No, I'll go first, right? So I think that growth, I can tell you what I do is I help agents go from where they are to where they want to be. That in a nutshell is sort of what we do around here. And typically that's at the team level, at the brokerage level, or the teamerage, like as we call it. But we help them go from where they are to where they want to be. That also includes EXP agents, right? So EXP agents that may be struggling in production or wanting to take things to the next level. Our job is to sort of tap them into the resources that they need to take their business to the next level on the production side and or on the revenue share side if they want to grow and build an organization. They have relationships with teams and with brokerages. And we sort of leverage that relationship and give them all the up-to-date information. If we have some sort of special incentive that needs to happen, whether that's some cap deferment or a boost or drive or different things we can do, little tools in our tool bag to be able to help it make sense sometimes from the perspective of a broker, owner, or a team leader. So that's what we do, at least in my opinion. I don't know. Frank does something else. I don't know what Frank does.
Frank, what are you doing?
What he said. No. Well, yeah, and I'll just add to that. The other part is, when we get into these discussions with agents or teams or broker owners, it's about a partnership.
Yes.
I was on a call last week. It was interesting, and the person we were speaking with, I don't know that they were necessarily the best cultural fit because all they kept saying was, "Hey, we're in a negotiation. I'm just negotiating here with you." And I said, "Well, I'm not really here to negotiate with you. We're here to try to partner with you. This isn't a combative thing. This is something that we're trying to help build together." So I think we always come from a place of, A, is this the best fit for who we're speaking with for both of us? And B, how do we make them get to a whole nother level? There's this whole misconception out there that all we do is recruit. And that's just not true. We're not that. We're a production company first. And the reason why we are such a great production company is because of the quality of the people that we're partnering with. So I think getting that across is a pretty big deal. And that's something that we work on every single day.
Yeah. Well, it is kind of funny because I do bump into this quite a bit, and they're like, "You're the growth guy, so like you're the recruiter." I'm like, "Well, yeah, that's one of. It's like saying my mom is just my mom. Well, she's also a wife, she's also a daughter, she's also a sister, she's also an aunt. There's all these different roles that each individual plays, and that recruiting component is only one small part of that role. So, Tony, I love where you kicked off right out of the gate there. I mean, here's the stuff, right? It's house sales, right? Because houses equals money. And then the other component that we do specialize in addition to that, is the people part equals money. So this is sell houses and do attraction. And people ask me all the time, like, what are you going to talk about when you're here? I'm like, how about we talk about showing you guys how to sell more houses? And then I'll show you how to use that for attraction. And they're like, you can do that? Yes, it's not just a recruiting gig, right? So there's a lot more to that. Yeah. So let's break down a couple of the things with regard to this partnership. What are the types of people that we need to have in front of us? So like when we're looking for something saying, hey, when's a good time to call Frank and drag Frank in? When's a good time to get Tony in? What does that look like? Who are those people?
Yeah, I'll go first. So as early as possible, right? So, once you've had a conversation, and let me back that up just a little bit. Once you've had a conversation with an individual and they've expressed some form of interest in the model, or
Yes.
some form of interest in taking their business to the next level, some pain point or some objective they want to hit, whether it's a positive or negative, once they've expressed something that we can do to help them, then bring us in the process as soon as possible. Say, hey, I got this guy, he's struggling with this, or he wants to do this, or he wants to expand, or she's looking to go international, she wants to cross state lines, whatever it is. At that point, bring us in, and then we can sort of take it, partner with you, and take it from there.
Excellent.
Yeah, and I'll piggyback off of Tony, because we get this question all the time. A lot of the agents are calling us saying, hey, listen, I need to know the details about Boost. I need to know the details about Thrive. And what I keep telling everybody is, you don't necessarily need to know the details about those. General oversense is fine, but that's what we're here for. And quite honestly, people keep asking about those programs. Those programs have always been around. We just give them a fancy name. And it's not the only thing that we have. So to Tony's point, it's very important that we get in early on these discussions, because we can kind of really get an idea. And there's four, and I tell this to people when we train on estate meetings and whatnot. There's really four things we're trying to identify. Russ, I know you and I talk about this all the time. Is we go on these meetings and it's, where are they now? Where are they trying to go?
Yep.
What vehicle, what tools do they need to get there? And who's going to help them? So these are the four pillars, or the four pieces of the foundation that we try to use, all of us as on the growth team that we use. It's not just about get on a call and give me your numbers. There's a lot more to it than that. We need to find out where they want to go. What's their vision for their team and their business? And then we try to come up with a way to make sure that we can make that partnership happen. That's beneficial for them as well.
Yeah, I think it's kind of interesting. Excuse me. It's kind of interesting that there's so many different conversations that we can break down into really this simple recipe. And this is kind of the recipe I've used for many years. And anytime I sit down with an agent, right? When I was doing recruiting, and I've talked to thousands and thousands of agents, there's like, how do we make this make sense? And a lot of people are like, well, Russ, I don't know all the EXP stuff. I'm like, it's not about EXP. It's about them. So this conversation makes it about them. By the way, guys, you can use this conversation with buyers. You can use this conversation with sellers. You can use this conversation with children. You can use this conversation with spouses. You can use this conversation with attraction. This is like a one size fits all, really great recipe for a conversation with a person. Where are you at now? What do you like doing? What do you not like doing? What's working for you? What's not working for you? Guys, you can apply that to a ton of different things, not even real estate related, right? And then where do you want to be? What does that look like? What do you want that to feel like? What do you want to experience? What do you want to have in your life? What do you want to have more of? And then the last part is like, how are you going to get there? If we could show you 2 or 3 things that help you get there, you want to talk about that? Heck yeah. Guys, that whole conversation then becomes about them, and it becomes the most powerful conversation in the world, because almost everybody else sits down with people and says, well, we do this and this and this and this and this and this. And you just keep throwing stuff at them until they're like, well, tell me more about that, Russ. Like, tell me what you want. They'll tell you exactly what you need to sell them. So that recipe works across the board. So I love that you brought that up, Frank. So let's break down a couple of different things here too. So we've got 3 different categories we can talk to, and we do talk to: agents, teams, and brokerages. Okay, so let's talk about agents. What does that look like? Who are we looking for? Who should agents be looking for if they're going to add attraction into their business?
Everybody. So that's usually where I start there. Realistically, again, it's about that particular agent, where they're trying to go. Anyone is looking to grow, right?
Yes.
We're not in the agent collection business.
Right.
We are in the agent growth business, right? So we want to partner with an agent, like Frank said, and help them grow, help them get where they want to be. So if they have goals, ambitions, they want to make more, they want to spend less. I think that this is definitely someone that sort of is in that target range that you want to go for.
Yeah, absolutely. Frank, what would you add to that?
Yeah, I would add that there's nobody that's too big or too small. And I think a lot of people, they don't, well, I was going to call you guys, but I was going to do this, but I didn't think you would want to, we hear that all the time, and we are here to support you. That's our job. Our job is to support all of you, the agents, and help this company grow. We will talk to anybody. And I think that's the thing that people need to understand. You can reach us anytime, any place, on Workplace. We're always available, but that's what we are here to do. Number one, is to focus on growth of the company and to support all of you, the agents. So everyone is open for business, is my point.
Yeah. So I think when we go back to recruiting, if you say, Russ, what are you looking for? And people say to me, they come to us all the time. They're like, well, Russ, I'm looking for I just want to hit like big hitters. And I'm like, okay, cool. So I want to create big hitters. Right? Yeah. The big hitters don't really want to move. Like they're going to move when something happens. I've told this story more than once. It's like you've got an eagle bald eagle in the tree, one of the most majestic animals in the world. Like what part of that eagle doesn't need you, right? He's hungry. He jumps off, flies down the lake, grabs a fish, comes up there, eats it, spits all the bones at his buddies. And he's bored. So he goes and beats up a couple other birds because he's got nothing else to do. Then he's tired, takes a nap in his nest. Like at what point does that bird need you for anything? Well, that bird doesn't really need you for anything until a hurricane comes and blows the tree down, or a fire knocks it down, or somebody chops a tree down, or, it's an outside thing that happens that makes them think, hey, now I need to move. But you don't want to be the person that chopped the tree down. Right. And I think that's what a lot of people do in this attraction thing is they go and they're like, well, how do I chop the tree down so the bird needs to move? I'm like, no. So what I like to filter for is motivated, driven, and nice. Motivated, driven, and nice. If they're a cultural fit, motivated, driven, and nice, we can turn them into anything.
Very simple. And the other thing is, Russ, is I've always subscribed to it, not just in business, but in life. I talk to everybody I meet because you never know that next person you talk to could be the person that changes your life.
Yes.
You really don't know. And, everybody has a story and everybody has something going on. And, if you live your life without trying to uncover that or learning about other people, how are we going to grow as a person? So to me, to answer your original question, who do you speak to? You speak to everybody.
Where do I meet agents? Tony, where do I meet agents that fit some of these criteria?
I tell people to start with your phone, right? Because in most cases, if you're an agent coming to me saying, hey, where do I meet agents? I say, hey, pull out your phone because you probably got 10, 15, 20. And if you've been a producing agent for a while, you've got 100 agents probably already in your phone saved there. So I would start with that. And that's a pretty good daggone list of agents that and then even family members and cousins and whoever you bought your house from and all that kind of stuff. So usually there, and that right there will get you to a point where you can start really making some major decisions in your life and having a potential to sort of change your lifestyle just by the people that are in your cell phone. Beyond that, of course, you've got association events, you've got, other events, trainings and seminars and all those kinds of things as well. That's a great place to start as well. But again, I've seen people that have built major businesses just based off of their cell phone. They never had to go outside the network of people that they've previously known and done business with. And they've crushed it.
Yeah. Good. Frank, what would you add to that?
Yeah, I'll go to the other side of the spectrum where I encourage people to look within their own organization to see where the gaps are. What kind of people are you looking for to add to your own organization, to your own brand? And they don't necessarily have to work for your team. But if you're trying to build something across the country, it doesn't matter. If you are looking at your organization and you're into attraction and you're looking at, hey, I've got a bunch of cappers, but I don't really have any good influencers.
Yes.
Start getting on social media. So who are the people out there that are influencers? Now you're calling them with a purpose. Hey, Russ, my name is Frank Minuto with EXP. And look, I love what you're doing on social media. It looks like you've got 4,000 followers and all that kind of stuff. Well, I'm looking to add to my brand. I'm looking for a business partner to help grow my real estate brand, and maybe I can help you grow yours. So I'd like to have a conversation about what you're doing on that. So in other words, you're filling holes. Or maybe take the other side of it. What if you have a bunch of influencers on your team, but you don't have a lot of cappers?
Yeah.
Now you're going after the producers in certain markets. You can look at their volume and say, hey, man, I might be able to get this person to be a non-capper to a capper or a capper to an icon agent. Now I'm looking at their thing. Hey, Russ, this is Frank from EXP. Now I'm following your business. You're doing a great job. If I can show you a formula that might get you to another level where also you're getting some ownership in a company and blah, 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 blah. Would you give me 5 minutes for 15-minute conversation? Let's go grab a cup of coffee. I don't do lunches anymore. They're too long. People don't want to do that anymore. They don't want to commit to it. They won't commit to it, but they will commit to a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
Because that could be 5 minutes. It could be an hour. You don't know.
Yeah.
But what I always find, Russ, that when you call someone or you're reaching out to somebody with a specific purpose, with a specific message, then I feel like your chance of landing in that conversation increases very highly. It's no different than when you're farming. If you're putting the same message out to 1,000 people in your farming and production, you might get a hit here and there. But if you're going to a specific seller with a specific pain point for a specific, you're gonna have a lot more success. So it's the same concept.
So you like the concept of niching down, right?
Yeah.
Instead of doing like shotgun technique, you're going to go for a specific type of thing. So some of the messaging behind this that you can start using on social media is, hey guys, if you're experiencing this, we have a solution. Yeah. If you don't know where your next deal is coming from, we have a solution. If you're frustrated and aggravated and this business isn't what you thought it was, we need to talk. Those types of things kind of get to a feeling, because if you can get them to feel something, you can get them to do something. If you can't get them to feel something, they're not going to do anything, right? So one of the things that I really like for real estate agents, we're talking about helping build that second part of this equation. First part of the equation is houses equal money. Second part of the equation is people equal money. And by the way, this thing for most of your real estate agents is going to come from this thing right here, the house sale thing. So in all these house sales, mostly house sales, 95+% of the time, there's realtors on the other sides of the deal. There's also agents that showed the property. There's also the title person, and the mortgage person, and the insurance person, and the inspection person. And if you add up the total touch of all of those people, you can come up with 821 people that you can add to your realtor sphere of influence. Now, the title person connects to 200, the mortgage person connects to 200, the insurance person connects to 200, so forth. But when you're looking at, and you got one agent, you've got 20 people that showed the house, that's an opportunity for you to add some people in. Hey, Tony, here's my script for that. You want to hear the script for that? Hey, Tony, I know you sold the house at blah, blah, blah lane, right?
And the other piece of that, Russ, that you're touching on that's really important too, is those lenders, especially the ones that you have relationships with, in title or attorneys, whatever state you're in, they also speak to the agents. They know who's unhappy. So, the other part of, if you have a close enough relationship with somebody, I'm like, hey, Tony, listen, I know you deal with, how many people are in your stable? Frank, I deal with, 30 different agents. Anybody complaining? Anybody seem unhappy to you where they might be open to a conversation for for another opportunity, and they know things. They know things. So, leveraging your relationships is a big part of this as well.
Yeah. I think the focus then is add value to all of those people, not try to fleece them, add value to them, find things. Hey, everything that I send to my sellers, I send to every agent I know. Yeah. Like, hey, by the way, here's what I sent to my people. And they're like, really? Why do you send me all your stuff? Because I just want to make sure everybody in this business knows better and does better and adds value to their people instead of just going out fleecing people. It's just, and the more value you add, the better off you go. Okay. So we got two other categories and they kind of overlap a lot. Teams and brokerages. What are we looking for in teams and brokerages?
So I'll go first again there. I think that it circles back to a goal that they're trying to achieve, or it is a problem they're trying to solve. That really is the two categories that teams and brokerages fall into. Either they're trying to take things to the next level. It's funny because out of the hundreds at this point, or maybe in thousands, I don't know, of calls and things that I've had, no one I've ever spoke to has said they're trying to stay the same. Everyone has said, hey, I'm trying to fix this problem, or I'm trying to grow. Those are the exact sort of candidate that we're looking for, because we are uniquely positioned to be able to help them in both those categories.
Yes. Good. Frank.
Yeah. So with that is then coming up with a plan to show them what that path looks like. Right. Yeah. So when it comes to teams, most of the time, most team leaders are super competitive people. I mean, I think we all know that. Yes. And, I think a lot of them get stuck. Here's the thing that I like, and I'll tell this to everybody on our phone calls. I think, collaboration is obviously the strongest thing that we have in this company. Yes. But if you look at that even a little bit deeper, what I love most about EXP, everybody in this company has a peer group.
Yes.
And that is not the same everywhere. So what happens when you are that team that's at the top of the totem pole in your office? Who's your peer group? They usually have to go outside their company. Most of the time, everybody within their own office is coming to them, asking them for advice. How do I get better? But who do they have? So what I love about this is explain to everybody that you have a peer group. We have a path to get you to the next level. Again, it gets back to those 4 questions at the beginning, but where do you want to go? Right. And when we talk to team leaders and understanding what their vision is, then I go to this piece, which is there's 2 ingredients to be successful at EXP, in my opinion. This is just a Frankism. One is to think bigger than you've ever thought before. Yes. So you're a team leader now. You think you're thinking big now? Think bigger. We are a borderless company. Yes. And then number 2, plug in. You plug into the people and plug into the platform. And especially for team leaders, if they can plug into the people and the masterminds and all the stuff, the information that's being shared every single day at this company, the growth is going to happen. All we have to do is show them, get them on the right path. So I think when you're talking to teams, and it'll bleed into brokerages also, obviously, but when you talk to teams, it's making sure that you can paint the picture for them and give them the vision and understand you can grow here. You will not be stunted here as you are in your current situation.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of funny when we talk to people and they're like, hey, I'm kind of top dog in my area. And I'm like, hey, we've got a team that multiple teams that closed over $1 billion last year. Yeah. So would you like to see what they do? Other people, you're like, I'm sorry, what? That number doesn't even make sense. Just somebody doing 100 million, 200 million, like the jump from a $200 million big team to $1 billion. That's a big jump, guys, because everyone's going full throttle. It's not like they're like, yeah, I'm kind of mailing it in. I'm going full throttle, and my full throttle and my skill set got me to here.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of those people still want more. So there's typically 3 categories that teams and brokerages fit into. And Tony, you touched on that briefly there too. So let's get clarity on that. One is they want out. They don't want to do this anymore. We bump into a lot of team people. And I say, hey, listen, if you could slam it into a brick wall, light it on fire and walk away, you'd work less hours and make more money. And they're like, yeah,
sign me up. That was easy. All right, go to join.exp. Yeah, right.
Yes. Growth at right. So there's some people just want out because what they built is not serving them. What they built is not getting them this. It's got them stuck here and they still want more. So sometimes it's how do we show you how to get out of what you got into? That's a big part of the conversation. The second one is shift. It's like, hey, I want to keep doing this, but I don't want to do it like this. And we see that a lot of times with brokerages because the bigger they get, the more time they're spending doing stuff they don't love. So if we can get you back to doing what you love and show you how to go, instead of thinking 300, start thinking 3,000. Does that interest you? And that guy goes, that's me. Dude, that's me. Right? So you get them to feel something. Now they're thinking, hey, how do I do that? Let's show you a couple ways to do that. And then the last one is level up. They're like, hey, I got to a certain point. Man, I'm top dog here. How do I level up? I got to hang out with people that are bigger, better, stronger, faster than me to get me to be stronger. So the faster runners you run with, the faster runner you're going to be. Right. And that's just the way it works. So leveling up, you can align and level up. So once you get to the core of this, it doesn't matter how big that company or team is. Once you get to the core of which one this is, then it's super easy to show them the path to get to where they want to go. And that's what our team does best, probably. Right.
Yeah. And then the last piece, and I know we're out of time. They're like dropping notes and flags and stuff everywhere. But it's just on the sort of brokerage piece that you hit me to, and that you really recognize, Russ, is the legacy question.
Yes.
Right. So as you transition into brokerages as well, that's one other piece and one other sort of niche to sort of go after is folks that have crushed it, but they're like, what's next? Right. So what do I do now? Like I built this thing. It's incredible. It's not killing me. But what's next? What's my legacy? What's the story people are going to tell? How do I pour into the real estate community going forward? So that's sort of the last kind of niche, the last level that you want to look for.
Good stuff. Last words, Frank.
Yeah. Brokerages are certainly a very rich target right now. Broker owners are tired. They are not making money right now, and they are losing agents to us and other companies. So right now they are more open and receptive to conversations than I've ever seen in my career. So I would say, don't be afraid to talk though. Everybody's open for business for sure. Yeah.
If I can get you in a conversation with someone who can help you talk through where you're at now, where you want to be and how you're going to get there, would you take that conversation? If they say yes,
every day.
Drop them over to us. We'll help them out. Okay, so we've got a quick graphic here to show you guys how to get in contact with us. So here you go. You guys can hit this puppy here. There'll be a link in the comments, so you guys have the ability to connect to us and get scheduled. If you've got something you want to talk through, make sure you connect to us, and you can connect that direction. So that's of course Amy Weaver, our boss. Pretty cool, right? Great graphic you put together, Tony.
Hey,
all right, that's all Katie. That's all Katie.
I thought that was you.
No,
you made me look pretty, so thanks. All right, guys. One last thing. I've worked with a lot of people. I've loved a lot of things I've done, but I haven't loved the people I work with as much as I love working with you guys. You guys are amazing, and I'm proud to work with you guys.
You're so sweet.
Okay?
Thank you, my brother. Hey, they got the triplets on the call today, right? My brothers.
That's it. 3 Musketeers or 3 something.
Right, Russ, you do an awesome job every week with this, man. And the company appreciates it. We appreciate it. You are the man.
Thank you,
sure.
sir. I appreciate it.
Love you, brother.
All right. See you guys.
See you.
All right. There you go. Tony King, Frank Panunto, both VPs of growth. We work basically together doing the stuff that we do. And we love helping people and taking businesses to the next level. And you can see it in the soul of what these guys talking, right? So I hope you guys got something out of that on attraction and just making connections with people as you're going through this business. All right, next segment we have coming up, we've got the one and only Bryon Ellington, coupled with the one and only incomparable Gogo Bethke, social media queen of real estate. I'm going to kick it off to you guys. Bryon and Gogo, you guys take it away.
All right. Thanks, Russ. We appreciate it. Gogo, how you doing?
Oh, I'm so excited and excited to be here.
I've been looking forward to this. So last week, our illustrious leader, Glenn, got on and announced RevShare 2.0. So we thought it'd be a great opportunity to bring an amazing attractor like yourself to come on and share a little bit about attraction. Now, we have your upcoming coaching program that just launched. So those of you who are in the market to learn more about attraction, please do check that out. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. But let's talk about attraction. Now, the first thing I want to ask you about, so there's a lot of hesitancy with agents when it comes to attraction, because the idea is I got to be, sweaty palmed and heavy breathed and, really begging and pleading on bended knee, trying to get people to join. That's not your approach, though.
You want to ask me how many people I called myself?
How many people have you called yourself?
0. You know how many I onboarded? Personally sponsored?
I'm pretty impressed by this number. Please do share.
Over 250. So, but I have a little bit of a different way I look at things. Same in my agent attraction. Of course, I do things similarly in every business idea that I come up with, right? But I did the same thing when it came to generating buyer and seller leads. I've never called buyers. I never had to learn a script. I didn't door knock. I didn't role play. I didn't buy Zillow leads, right? So everything that I did it through attraction. I did it with the power of social media and people, raising their hand when they're ready to work with me. So when I came over to EXP, I did come with the idea that I'm going to do agent attraction because I was already a top producer in other brokerages. I didn't need help with that. I do like the idea of earning our cat back, though. That was reason number 1. Reason number 2 was agent attraction. And so you have to study the product that you're going to sell. And the more comfortable you feel with the product that you're selling, the easier it is. And then I always say to stay in your lane, right? Like find a way that you love what you do and you never work a day in your life. And for me, it happened to be social media. But for many other people, when it comes to agent attraction, it could be as simple as events, or it could be as simple as your database that you touch in, so often. But it's really not hard, guys. It's really not. Don't overthink it.
It's funny. There's there's opportunities that you have, hopefully very regularly when you're at the closing table to have conversations with folks. But I think of attraction a lot like our agent sales lead generation. There's people who are hardcore prospectors, and God bless, that certainly works. And there's people who are avid marketers like yourself, and God bless, that works. And so the thing is, figure out who you are and who you want to be and how you want to approach this, and then treat it like a business. And I'm glad you said, understand your product. So can you talk a little bit more about that, what you mean by that?
Yeah, so it's not like when I came over, I did know that I'm going to do agent attraction, right? And I didn't even like to use the word recruiting because I'm not going to call anyone. I always had a little chip on my shoulder that people are lucky that they get to work with me, even when I never sold the house, right? So I always had that same mindset. So when I came over, I knew this is what I'm going to do. I actually told my sponsor, I'm going to bring 100 agents. And my sponsor said, when you bring 100 agents, I'll buy you a Rolex.
Hey, I like it. I like it.
Right. So I knew what I want, but then the question was, how am I going to get it done? Right. And I really realized in order to sell anything or become really good at selling a specific thing, you have to learn the product. Right. So then I started with interviewing everyone in my upline. So first of all, I wanted to understand who am I in business with? Right? What do they bring to the table? Because if I know what they bring to the table, then I don't have to recreate the wheel. I just copy and plug. Right? Because it's one thing to agent attract, and it's another thing to actually partner with your agent partners and form a community and support each other and feed each other's families and all of that. So I studied my upline. Then I went to EXP's website and literally clicked every button like a 3-year-old and asked the question, but why, mom, but why? Right?
Yeah.
And then if I didn't know an answer to the question, I would call my sponsor. So in the first year, I probably called Curtis Shewell, is my sponsor, by the way. I probably called Kurt 5 to 10 times a day with like might have been like stupid questions to him, but I needed the answer to it. And then really to learn the best is just to put yourself into that situation. So then I started talking about EXP in my social media platforms, and people would get into my calendar and I would get on phone calls, Zoom calls, and then they asked me a question and I was like, oh, I actually don't know the answer to that question, but I know the person who does, right? And then I would call Kurt would tell me the answer. I would tell the person on the Zoom call, but next time somebody asked me that same question, I already knew the answer because it already happened. Right. So I think sometimes what happens is that people want to have all of the answers up front before they take action. And that's impossible. I still don't have all of the answers today. There are certain, I mean, EXP is so vast and so many different opportunities and lead generations and all of these new tools that we're coming out with. We can't possibly all know everything every single day, but just take that little one-step action. And next thing you know, you are faced with a question, you don't know the answer to it. You go find the source, a question get answered. You answer their question, you move on.
And here's a way of looking at it too. First off, this is an opportunity for you to double dip, right? As you're learning about the value proposition that you might share with others, this is a good opportunity for you to learn about the value proposition you're not taking advantage of as an EXP agent, because there's a lot out there. The other way to think about it too is this is about adding value. Again, going back to our sales lead generation, one of the things you want to do is add value. Well, you're going to run into agents who want to be a luxury agent or want to be a commercial agent or have some particular need in their business, and be able to share with them how we help agents with that same need gives them a clear pathway of, oh, so by joining EXP, I can get my challenges solved and grow my business to the level I want, adding that value. Now, you and I are talking. Yeah, go.
I want to add on one thing to that. Also, what teaches us, so many of us, including myself initially, I was like, well, what do I bring to the table? Like, what do I have to offer to agents, right? So when you realize all of these things that the company offers to us, the more you realize, oh my gosh, I don't have to do that. The company already does it for us, right? So it really literally makes you live with the opportunity, removes that boulders from your shoulder, and makes it easier to do agent attraction because you don't have to do any of it. The company provides it.
That's right. The value you have to offer is the EXP value, and then you can sprinkle your magic dust on top of that. Speaking of that, so you and I were talking, and you're a very systematized person. Can we talk a little bit about that?
So for whatever reason, my brain just kind of works like a computer, and I like to reverse engineer things, right? So I guess I'm going to use the funnels as an example of how do I actually agent attract, because that's a system, right? So when I switched over, I said, okay, how do I get my buyers and sellers? And it was always from social media, Facebook, Instagram, all of that. What do I do with that? Well, I make a post, and then I tell them to click the link, and then the link takes them to my KV core, right, on the buy side of things. And then they click that, I get their information into the system, right? And then I follow up. I said, okay, so I need the same system on the agent attraction side. So when I'm talking about it on Instagram, for example, right, I need to say, click the link below to jump into my calendar. Well, that means I have to have a funnel. I have to have a landing page. I have to have a website, right? So we built a very simple funnel, but there's a method to the madness why the funnel is laid out in the way that it's laid out. So on my funnel, which everyone's going to get in the same exact funnel in the I call it bootcamp. What do you call it, Bryon?
The EXP, the Agent Attraction Explained, with EXP for explained. I love it.
I love it. So the Agent Attraction Explained, we actually give you that exact funnel that I have used in the past few years. And the method to the madness is, what do I want them to do? So I made the video. They listen to me, they click the button, they go to a website or a funnel or a landing page, right? Depending what you call it. What do I want to happen from there? Right? So I say, okay, I want all of these 9 videos because they all explain something different of the company. There's also different type of personalities. Some people want to see just a slideshow with no people in it. And some people want to see a person and no frigging slideshow. Right? So then we cater to every type of personality. Then underneath, what do I want them to do? I want them to take action. So there's a button then that says, I can't wait to see my calendar, click the link below. They click it, they go to your calendar, you show up to a call like this, you have a good old conversation, you handle their objections. Then they ask you, where do I go to sign up? Then you send them back to the same page. Step 1, step 2, they sign up with you, they sign up with the EXP, and then you rinse and repeat. So literally, I look at everything as a reverse engineering. A, what is the end goal that you want? I want them to sign up with me at EXP. What is the process that we're going to get to that? How many steps do we need to take, right? A, I have to create the content or have the event or send out an email. Where do I want them to go from there to this link? What does that link has to have? The videos, the button to my calendar, and the actual buttons to sign up, right? And then we also added some additional as the company was growing, because originally when I came over, there was no commercial department. There was no international, right? All of those countries got added on later. So now we have a commercial button, we have an international button. So everything that I use and built into that, we are going to give all of that. But that's how my brain works. So systems are really not as complicated as most people think of it. Is just what's the end result that you want, and what are the steps in the middle that needs to happen in order for that end result to happen, and then what's that look like, right? And it's really not complicated. It's a very simple funnel. It's just there's a method to the madness in the funnel, and you rinse and repeat every time, and you do it over and over again.
Yeah. And again, not to beat a dead horse here, but what we're talking about is lead generation. It's just instead of for real estate clients, we're generating for agents who want to join your org. And just like you would in your marketing generation, you're going to have some sort of system. For most of us, it's going to be a CRM where we're sifting through who's the immediate need customer and who's the future need customer. And for the immediate need, there's a plan for that. For the future need, there's a plan for that, whatever that is for you. And to your point, I've actually gone through your content. Thanks for letting me see it. It is very simple. It sounds complicated, I think, maybe as you kind of talk about it, but it is very simple. You know, as we talked about it, though, systems are great to have in place. But one of the things you said that really struck a chord with me was consistency. You want to share a little bit about that?
Well, people ask me all the time, Gogo, how often do I need to post? And I'm like, okay, how often would you like to see results? It's really that simple. If you're going to post once every 6 months, then you're going to have results once every 6 months. If you're going to post once a week, you're going to see results once a week. If you're going to post 10 times a day, you're going to see results 10 times a day. So it's really just your appetite, right? Like, what type of results would you like to see? And also, the more you do it, the more you realize how good you are at it. So for example, say on the cold calling side of things, like most people who cold call, they know they have to make 100 calls to get 4 clients and 3 out of the 4 closes, right? Like, they know their math. So every day they sit down and they do 100 calls, and they know by the end of the month, they're going to have 4 closings and 3 of them's going to close, right? One's going to fall apart. So same on the agent attraction side of things. Initially, you don't know your stats. So initially, you just post, and you say, okay, I posted once a day, every single day this month, and I got 2 agents. You're like, okay, that means I have to do it 30 times, and I get 2 agents. So I have an average of 1.5% closing rate, or whatever that equals out to be, right? So also keep in mind, you're going to get better over time. So your initial numbers, because you know how to handle objections 5.5 years in, way better than you know how to handle objections on your first call. So your stats are going to get better. So really just figure out what is that end result that you want, right? So again, I reverse engineer everything that I do. So if you say, I'm happy with bringing 1 agent a month, then my question to you would be, okay, what do you think your closing rate is? So do you think if you talk to 2 agents, you have the ability to close 1 of them? That's a 50% closing rate. Or do you think if you talking to 10 agents, you have the ability to close 1 of them at a 10% closing rate? So they usually tell me somewhere in the middle, but let's say it's a 50% closing rate, right? So then I know if you want to bring 1 agent, how many do you need to talk to if you have a 50% closing rate too, right? So if that's the case, then how many times do you need to post? So let's say you have 100 followers. What are the chances that 2 of them is going to get into your calendar this month? If the chance is 100%, that all you need to do is make 1 post, 2 people out of your 100% followers going to click it. They're going to show up in your calendar. You're going to close 1 of them, and you're going to rinse and repeat. So really, I want everyone to keep it super simple. Reverse engineer everything that you want. But first, you have to realize, what do you want? And that's, I think, most people don't stop and think. They're like, I want to do agent attraction. Okay, what? Like I said from day one, I'm going to bring 100 agents, right? So sit down and say, okay, do you want to take this seriously and go crazy wild with it like I did? Or are you happy with 1 agent a month? Because let's say somebody comes on and they're 19 years old. Like, that's a totally different agent attraction game than me at age. So 5 years ago when I joined, I was 37 years old, right? Which means like, I really only have like 30 years and then it's time for retirement. So if that's the case, if this person who's 19 and has until the age of 67, like, they could bring an agent every 2 years and they will reach their goal before I reach my goal, right? Just because they have time on their hand. So really, don't overthink it. Figure out what you want, reverse engineer it, and then base your content on that. And then you also might say you're really good at it. You might post twice and get 4 agents. I don't think you're going to be against that. I think you're going to just stop posting more.
Yeah. By the way, I'm going to bet you that Rolex you're not retired in 30 years. All right. So one last thing before we let you go. So you talked about don't overcomplicating it. My experience, when you teach expireds to agents, they come up with these boogeyman like arguments. What if the seller says this? They're not going to say that. There's only a few objections we deal with in recruiting and attraction. So I'm can I throw one out and hear how you deal with it?
Sure, that's right.
Okay. One of the most common objections I get whenever I talk to agents about joining is, I love my broker. So I'm sure you probably heard this. So how do you deal with that one?
You might not like my answer. I don't know if it's HR approved, but here's my answer. So usually on the call, when I get on the call, it's a Zoom call, right? So we start a conversation, we chitty chat for a little bit, and then I go into the uncomfortable part of the conversation and I ask them real numbers, right? The reason why I do that is because I need to be able to beat them with those numbers at the end, because I know a question like this is coming. Right. Yeah. So when I know what their cap is, what their cut is, how many transactions they did, then I run their numbers right there and I come up with the conclusion that, oh, okay, that's great. Congratulations, you're a top producer. You paid $37,000 last year to your broker. So when the question comes up, yeah, Gogo, but I love my broker. This is my response. Pay me $37,000 next year and I'll call you every morning and tell you are the best thing since sliced bread. Trust me, you're going to love me. I'm going to sing you happy birthday. First thing in the morning on your birthday, I'm going to give you all of these things and that and that and that and that. You're going to love me too. And you don't have to pay me $37,000. Of course, they love you for $37,000. I would love you too.
Yeah. You joke, but hey, let's be honest. You do provide real value to the people who join your organization. So do a lot of the folks who are attracting for EXP. They all provide tremendous value in and of themselves. And then on top of the EXP value that we provide.
And on top of it, they don't have to pay us anything, right? Like the agents don't owe me anything. All of my agents partners, they have never paid me a penny. And so that's just like, I feel like EXP is such a good opportunity. Like even I did the same thing where I was like, there has to be a small print. Like I literally got a copy of the ICA before I switched over looking for the small print because I was like, there has to be a catch. Right. Yeah. So when other brokerages are looking at us, they're probably doing the same thing. They have to find value somewhere to justify the reason why they're staying or where they at or why they stayed this long over there. Because when they realize what they can achieve here, it's almost such a no-brainer that makes them feel dumb that they haven't switched already.
Yeah. Yeah. Well said. All right. Gogo Bethke, thank you very much for being part of this. By the way, I hope the team is going to drop in the chat the link to your new program. Go check out the new EXP Elevate coaching and all the programs we have, but be part of this. Go build your wealth and have fun doing it and have fun changing other people's lives while you do. Thanks so much. I appreciate you.
Thank you
all right,
so much.
Russ, back to you, friend.
All right. Good stuff, guys. Come on. Like every time she gets going, she's always got the cutest little thing. She's got this little fuzzy microphone. I think that's like one of a kind. Gogo Bethke's gal. Pink fuzzy microphone. I love that. And yeah, by the way, Kurt Shewell, if you happen to be watching this, never bet against Gogo. It cost him a Rolex. And by the way, that's actually a true story. So I've actually seen it. It's a true story. So never bet against Gogo. So if you guys want to see more content from her, she's going to be part of the new processes that are coming out with University for the new Accelerate and all of the different tracks that they're doing. You guys are going to be able to have access to that and get direct access to Gogo and some of the things that she teaches and trains. So the cool part is University is expanding fast. They're going to be shifting a bunch of things in the next month or so. So make sure you tap in, keep looking back and see some really great stuff. Elevate coaching is also going to be in line with that, which means you're going to be able to get one-on-one in a couple of different flavors. You can do some group stuff, you can do some personal stuff, and there are some paid stuff also with Elevate coaching. So why not pay our own coaches to coach our own people to take them to the next level? So we appreciate everything you guys are doing out there to sell more homes this year and try and get you the best support that we can. All right. So with that said, whole day on attraction. Hit NPS survey right now, guys. Grab your phone, pull it out. Give us a rating on a scale of 1 to 10, guys. The ratings you guys have been giving us have been phenomenal over the last couple of months, and that's because you guys keep telling us and we keep delivering good value to you. So want to say thank you for each one that does this NPS survey and gives us the feedback. Thank you for giving us the scores, and thank you for the little comments that come along with it. Every week on Monday, we read through the comments. Some of them are funny. Appreciate that. Some of them are about the whiteboard. Love those. those. And some of them are just little guidance on how we can keep taking things to the next level. So thank you for all you guys do and taking the time to do that. So with that said, show is wrapping up for the day. I want you guys all to stay tuned for iConversations coming up next. I'll see you guys next week.